Guys, carry on with your meeting.
Okay, good evening, guys. Nice to have you guys on the call. Sorry about the time this evening. I think there was some confusion regarding the start time of the meeting. I know last week we decided to move it forward by an hour, and I think that might have got lost, and that's now why we have a few absent from the call. But we do have in attendance a quorum. So Danny, Anthony, Jacob, and Matteo, thanks very much for being available this evening at this later date. I'm just going to get the agenda up here. We've started this meeting tonight at 20 minutes to 9. So again, we don't have some of the committee members on the call to lead with their agenda points. So we'll just move forward on some of the topics that we can cover with who's here. Now, again, we can open up new business later on in the call. So if anybody has any business to add to this evening's meeting, then we'll open that up now shortly once we get through the agenda points. Okay. Just want to give a quick recap on the coaching and referees course that took place over the weekend in Moshi. We had 21 in attendance, which is a great result all around. That's 21 people who've completed the level 1 coaching and level 1 referees course. Now, with that, obviously, that gives us a mandate to now go out and use those qualifications and take them into our clubs and potentially take them into the community, such as schools or community groups, and start really growing the game, which is always the goal with getting these type of qualifications. Sorry guys, I'll just find the agenda here. There's a couple of points that we won't be able to cover. Anthony, I see that you've put up medical doctors for clubs, registration process, club representatives, and writing of official documents. Would you like to lead on some of those points? I'll open up the floor to you now, Anthony.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me. So the agendas that we put up, me and the main secretary, the agendas we put on, these were supposed to be talked about on the last session or the last meeting, but then we were not able to come live because of the internet. So I'll just go straight to having on the medical doctors for the teams and all that. So when it comes to the side of medical doctors for the teams, I think it's pretty hard if we were to follow a straight up procedure, like to go and approach a person that is already qualified in the beginning because of all the expenses that they would bring up. So what I am trying to do for Dark Cubs, my team, the team that I am on right now, is I am going to approach some of the dispensaries, some of the medical institutions whereby, we could find easier people that are eager to join the game, find a way to influence them to come on and help us with the knowledge that they already have. So that we're very sure that whenever we have games and all that, we have people that can come and give us first aid and all that. So when it comes to medical doctors, to begin with, I think all teams all over Tanzania and all the regions, what they should do is try and approach the dispensaries, the medical students that are still in college right now and are willing to participate in the movement that we're still going on with right now. So that's as far as I can talk on the part of medical doctors to come and assist us on the team. The registration process, it hasn't been easy right now because it's very easy to find a person in the street or a person that is already doing some other sports, for instance, soccer. But then it's very hard to convince them to come and train with us because they keep on talking about all these other things, like, for instance, transportation to the playgrounds and all that. We're trying to come up with a solution to that. For example, in the Dark Clubs, I know we've had discussions with Jacob and Mula to find a way to to facilitate these people to be able to come and play. When it comes to writing official documents, I think this was like the main point that me and Irene, the secretary, really wanted to address. I think we've been talking, like in the past meetings, we've been talking on tackling some issues in ways that have not like been official. So I think, for instance, we stated that we're going to be using the dormant account that Mr. Paul has on right now for all the funding to come in and all that, but then we don't have whatever we agreed on paper. So I think what we should do is come up with a draft of an official document that whatever we decide in the meantime that will change in the future, we should have it written down, and that it's stated that, okay, we're doing this just for the time being, but then when everything is settled, we're going to go back to the normal or the right way. So I believe that's it when it comes to the agendas that the secretary and I had. That's it. If there is any comments or anything, the floor is open.
Would anyone like to comment on that? Guys, I'll just add one thing. I think that's excellent in terms of the medical side of things, Anthony. I haven't been focusing on that myself, but it's definitely something across the board that we will need to start looking at for all the clubs, to have someone affiliated with them, a medical personnel. Now, one thing that we are looking at in the near future is first aid qualifications, and everyone will need at least one first aid qualified person in their club. Now, potentially there is rugby specific first aid courses, and I did speak with the Kenyan educators over the weekend about these qualifications. They do run these programs. Again, it might be prudent to get some people up to Kenya in the near future to get those rugby specific first aid qualifications done, and they're more than happy to facilitate us when the time arises. In the meantime, there are obviously first aid courses available across Tanzania, and it's something that I think we raised this issue a couple of weeks back. It is something that each location we could potentially start working on immediately by reaching out to places that do run first aid courses and pricing them up, seeing the ones that are most suitable. Perhaps even there are some that may tailor their course to suit a more rugby specific purpose. But again, this is something that we can move forward with immediately in terms of getting people first aid qualified. Now, there are obviously the rugby specific one by World Rugby is ideal. But again, if we have first aid personnel in all the clubs, it's just one more box ticked on the road to grow on the sport and doing it in the right way. So that's excellent, Anthony. And I think we'll start drafting something up this week to make that a priority over the next couple of weeks. In terms of the registration process and the communication, like you mentioned, I know from experience over the weekend there, I think one thing we do need to work on as a group and as a unit is clearer lines of communication. For example, in dealing with the Kenyan educators coming down, it wasn't clear for them who they should be contacting. They were dealing with me with regards to what was required. They were also dealing with Irene. They were also dealing with Paul for budgetary requirements. So I think they had some issues at the border, and they were ringing me. Irene was ringing me. They were ringing Paul. Paul was ringing Irene, and it was for a little while there. It was kind of a circle of confusion. But again, these are all minor issues. Again, the organisation is still in its infancy, so these are all minor issues that will all come together over the next couple of weeks and months. But again, we do need to set out a stall from the beginning now, and that we do need to emphasise the lines of communication that we're taking and the roles that people will play in those lines of communication. So one issue would be, now that the coaching qualifications, for example, have come through, who does someone reach out to if they want to get this done? Again, it would be to go through their club. The club development officer will then reach out to the union, which at the moment will be myself, and we can formulate a plan then to get more people educated on coaching and refereeing and those kind of things. So that's just one example. But yeah, Anthony, I think those are excellent points, and again, it's all something to work towards over the next week or two. Was there any other agenda points there that you had, Anthony, from last week that you want to raise?
That was it. There was supposed to be 4, but then number 1 on the list was already it's already done, because we were about to talk about the budgets for the coaches that were coming down to Moshi, but then that was already ticked off. So I was only left with 3 agendas, which I've already addressed.
Okay, yeah, I saw that was there was the report on the budget. There was an issue with the budget going over slightly. Now, it wasn't massive, but we did go over budget slightly. So that's just something that needs to be raised, approved, recognised, and acknowledged for the next time we run one of these events or any event. We will have to take on board the mistakes that were made this weekend and factor them in the next time we draft up a budget for coaching courses or for traveling teams. And again, it will be up to Paul to speak on these matters. I just have, I believe it was the treasurer, vice treasurer agenda, report on coaching referee course, reasons it was out of budget, report on National Sports Council, report on medical offices, and follow-up suggestion on constitution edits. Now, I can only really speak to the constitution edits that need to take place and offer some suggestions. The suggestions being that, of course, we need to edit the constitution to be more suitable to our goals and means. But bearing that in mind, the constitution that we have at the moment is a fairly standard constitution for rugby governing bodies in Africa. There isn't a whole lot in the constitution that needs to be changed. There may be some bits that need to be tweaked, but on the whole, I think it would be irresponsible for us as a unit or an organization to make large changes to a document that's been a functional document that's been accepted by Rugby Africa in the past and accepted by the Sports Council in the past. So to make massive changes at the moment without a lot of consideration would be, in my opinion, an irresponsible thing to do. That being said, there are a few issues in the Constitution or a few points that could maybe be changed a little bit. But on the whole, I think the document represents the organisation that we're trying to build here. So again, that would be my only input on that matter. And it will, of course, be up to the rest of the committee to decide on those matters and decide what they do and do not want in the Constitution. But based on the fact that it has been a functional constitution in the past, I think it might be in the interest of the Tanzanian Rugby Union to keep the document more or less the same as it is now. And again, it's that document is there for everyone to read through, to examine, and to offer their opinion on. So again, does anyone have any other take on the constitution matters? I'll open up the floor if anyone wants to jump in. Nope. Okay. Danny, would you like to give Danny, you want to jump in there? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi all. I was just recommending for the constitution soft copy to be to all voting committee members, so that everyone can go through and see if there's anything to be amended or whatever. And then there's also the agenda which we came with. We had to discuss it in this meeting from last meeting, which was the registration form follow-up of the union, which Paul had to answer, but I don't see him online. I don't know if we can have a word on it.
I'm sorry, Danny. I don't know about the other guys, but the line was very bad there. Go ahead, Anthony.
I saw Jacob coming on, so I thought he had something to say about the constitution.
Yeah, Jacob, go ahead there if you're free, if you can hear us, if you want to jump in. Danny, we'll come back to you now.
Hi, guys. Yeah, so I guess what Danny was saying is he was thinking, if I'm sure it's somewhere the constitution. He's saying like we could have a look at it, and each representative can agree, like if they are keen with the constitution, then Da to say yes, Tanga to say yes, Moshi to say yes. So everybody is agreeing to that. Then we can go ahead with the changing of the few amendments, or we can just leave it as it is. But I'm sure it's important for everybody to like have a look at it keenly, because I remember last time it was quite quick, because we needed to share it with other parties. But I think it's important if we reshare the constitution, then everybody gives their take. And there are some few parts like the people are asking, they were not keen, especially on where does the funds go, it goes to which account before it goes to what account, because in a constitution it is stated there, and some people have questions on that. So I think we can. I think that's what Danny was trying to say, and I'm supporting that.
Yeah, that was it, Danny, was it? Is that does that summarize? You want to jump back on?
Yeah. No, also I had this agenda which we had to make this. All right. There's this agenda also we had to come to make decision on it today, which was about the union registration follow-up, which we had like if we could get the answer from PO, we could have a committee that could go to the ministry to make follow-up, because as President Abdul said, like without following, they just tell you they were working on it and then nobody works on it. So that was also something which could be discussing, or maybe if Paul has his online or whatever, I can say something about it.
Danny, I'm really sorry. I don't know about the other guys, but it didn't come through on my end. Are you guys hearing Danny okay?
Yeah. Okay, what Danny is trying to say is
That's it.
Should I go on, Danny, or you want to jump back in? Should I go on for Danny?
Yeah.
Okay, so Danny is trying to say this, that the last meeting we had, there was an agenda about
you guys, can I just jump in one second?
making a follow-up for the registration, Tanzanian Rugby Union registration at the ministry. So he was wondering if Paul could come online and talk about it. But what I really
sorry for jumping in. I just wanted to say that for Daniel, the microphone just was really coming across loud. So maybe just hold the microphone a little bit away from you.
Okay, so the answer to him right now is that Paul is not online, and I think the best person that could answer about the follow-up about of the registration is Paul by now, because he was the one working on it. But then I also heard that you guys were trying to decide if Paul needed like help from the president or anyone else that could go to the ministry and make a follow-up. So I think the best person to answer whatever Daniel is trying to inquire right now is Paul. So, and unfortunately, Paul is not online right now.
I can speak to that just a little bit. Paul, I know Paul has had some communication with the lady who he's been dealing with in the sports ministry, I believe yesterday afternoon. Now, I don't know about the content. I only spoke to him briefly last night and we didn't get to that point. But again, yeah, like you said, Paul would be best placed to speak about that, as he has been the one dealing with them primarily. So again, we are looking at other avenues of potentially reaching out to the sports minister, the Minister for Sports, or that department of government, to see if we can move this along. But I know it has been going through the process of reapplication. So these things do take time. Again, it's a big system, a big country. So for a small organization like us, not many people are willing to bend over backwards at this stage. So hopefully now we get some more answers when we can get when Paul gets back into the fray. But for the moment, he's probably unavailable this evening. Just to bring it back to the previous point about the Constitution and what Jacob said. Jacob, absolutely, I think everyone should read through the Constitution. I think that would be a wise decision on everyone's part. Now, I know it was shared in the committee group a couple of weeks back, but it's available if anybody needs a copy. You can email myself, you can email Paul. I'm sure Abdul has a copy. But again, it's available there for anyone to look at. And if anyone just if anyone wants to reach out to one of us for a copy of the Constitution, absolutely feel free. I can send it on to you this evening if you like, or any time really. So that document is there to be viewed and to be reviewed and to be, if any of the guys on the YouTube channel are watching and they want to read through the Constitution, it's available to them as well. Just reach out to your club. The club can reach out to us, and again, we can provide you with that document. And if you have any points you'd like to raise regarding the Constitution and you're not a member of the committee and a part of these meetings, you can absolutely read through it. You can raise it with your representatives in your club, and they can raise it in these meetings here. And that's what these meetings are for, really, is to represent all the players and all the rugby in Tanzania, which is our end goal. So again, that option is available to everybody. So what other points did we have here? I know we were looking to get an agreement on the start date for the league and to discuss potential avenues of funding for the union. So, sorry, I've just got the couple of points here. Where are we? Discuss on registration follow-up. That was Paul. Did I have a point in there? Yeah, league start date. Again, I think that's something we probably need a couple more members on for. One of the things that was raised by Freddie would be, I think it was along the lines of fields. So playing facilities. That is something that needs to be addressed by all clubs, because again, we can't reliably have a start date for a league without adequate playing facilities in each location, because again, there'll be home and away games. And I think a proper format for this year would be to have one, everybody plays each other once, and then potentially have a knockout cup as well. But if we can play, or top two teams go into a final, something like that, and then potentially even have a cup. But I believe maybe the Moshi 10s would be the best way to facilitate having a cup and end the season competition outside of the league. And that's something that we will be looking at over the next couple of weeks and getting a solid date for that. Now, in terms of the league and playing facilities, I know the guys in Arusha have access to the international school there, which has a rugby field. There is a small fee attached to that. And that's something that can be worked out later. The guys in Moshi have had access recently to field, and we are going to be reaching out to the international school there, which does have a rugby pitch, and looking to make use of that facility. I know you guys in Dar have the university. Actually, Anthony and Jacob, when are you guys looking to start using that facility?
So we most likely we were actually waiting for for Noel and Mula, as well as Vasco, having the train, and so that we can have at least 3 coaches But we already have a go ahead. It's just that we need to send them when we need to start training, but we can start as soon as possible, which was the ideally was next month, starting from next month on Saturday. That was gonna be our kickoff. So next after next month, on the first Saturday of next month of June.
Okay, that's good. That's good. The sooner the better, really. One thing I will say to that is obviously the three guys now have their coaching qualifications, which adds massively to the Dark Cubs. But the real thing that drives rugby on is commitment. You know, there's no point in guys having these qualifications or having the use of a facility if you don't use it. You know, so to make these things work, people need to be showing up every week. You know, it has to be, if you tell the university you're going to be there 3 p.m. on a Saturday or whatever time you agree on, you know, and realistically, you know, to play rugby any kind of competitive level, you need to be training several times a week. You know, maybe 2-3 times a week to bring, you know, just to be sharp enough to play, to have the fitness to play, and to get the body conditioned to play contact rugby. It's not like football where you can work all week and then show up on the weekend and kick a ball around in the park. You know, you've big guys running head first at you, as we all know, and if you're not in physical condition to deal with that, then that's when injuries occur. And really, having a facility like the university, that has to be something now that that really gets taken advantage of. Essentially, you know, you have that facility. There's no point in just using it one day a week. I believe it should definitely be something that you make use of multiple times a week, if it's feasible, obviously. To use it multiple times a week. But again, that's where commitment comes into play. And I know you guys are absolutely committed to the cause, and I believe you'll take this forward in a committed and the proper manner. So again, it's just making sure that you get your organization right, and you make sure that there's somebody there. Every time you have a session planned, there's somebody there to run it, with the balls, with the cones, whoever it is, someone has to be there, even if it's a fitness session. If someone can't bring the balls, you're out there doing a fitness session. You know, and these are all the things that grow character. The character will be built with all these different challenges that you'll face over the next couple of months. So again, you get in there as soon as you can and use it as much as you can. And that's the only thing I can add to in that regard. And that applies to everyone, every club, every team, every development program, and every avenue we explore with this organization. This commitment and integrity. They're the two things we really need to drive home with this. So yeah, absolutely get in there as soon as possible and use it as much as you can. Again,
yes.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, just to add on that sessions, we of course, even Antonio spoke about this as well. Yeah, we are thinking of having not only just one session. We were thinking of having a session just for the club. Maybe we could do like on a Saturday, but on maybe Tuesday and Friday we could do trainings generally with the school new members, just to recruit. But on a Saturday we'll have that one for the club. But all 2 days we'll be doing just trainings, physical and learning rugby. But on Saturday it's just dedicated for the club. So maybe if we happen to recruit the players from the UDism, they can also come on Saturday. So Tuesday and Friday will be like our way of exchanging with the university, because we told them we will as well as train the students. So that is like one of the requirements. So Saturday is just for Cubs, but these 2 days will be for Cubs as well, but most likely for the university as well.
That's perfect. And again, I spoke with Malik George, one of the Kenyan coach educators that came down at the weekend there, and lovely guy. And he has said that he has loads of course material and training plans and training schedules, and just so much material that he'll make available to us to put together training sessions, introduction to rugby, whether they're beginners, intermediates, or elite level performance drills. He has a wealth of material there that he can put together and send on to us, and it's all available. Again, and even the World Rugby website. I know for the guys that did the course, they'll be familiar with the World Rugby Passport. I know there's a lot of stuff on there. Some of it can be a bit time consuming, but there's a lot of information and some really useful information and drills and all sorts of different things, how you plan training sessions. That's all available there, and it's there to be taken advantage of again. And if anyone needs help setting up training plans, whether it's for example with the university, if you want to go in there and run an introduction to rugby program, they already have set courses that are put together exactly for this purpose. So we can take advantage of all that material and apply it now in the university. And again, I guess we all know, we've all played rugby at some level. One thing that really brings new players back is if it's enjoyable. And there's nothing worse than going to a training session where you're kind of standing around, it's hit and miss. There's no progression. It's like you come along, you throw a ball around. It's a bit of a kind of meet up in the park. That's great among friends, but when you join a new club, it can be very, very intimidating, to come along to a new group of people that you don't know and get involved in a sport. So one thing that really, really drives that, the enjoyment side of the game, is to have structured training sessions and plan them out in advance and, implement them in a way that includes everybody, and it means that nobody's standing around and getting bored. So again, if you guys want any of this information, you can reach out to me, and you can go on the World Rugby website. I'm waiting on some information to be sent down from the educators in Kenya, and I'll make all of that stuff available to everybody as soon as it comes through. So, and this is something that we're going to be working on across all the regions. So yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic that if you're going to get in there a couple of nights a week, the university is probably the most ideal place to be recruiting from, because you'll have people from around the world, you'll have people from all over Tanzania. And again, you know what it's like in university. It's a lot of people that could be their first time away from home, and they're in a mindset where they're trying new things and experiencing new things. So it's the perfect time to get them involved in rugby because they're full of enthusiasm. So yeah, absolutely. Get in there and recruit like your life depends on it. Get as many guys involved as possible. So I think that covers my points that I wanted to raise. I will just check on that to be sure. Our discussion on funding and the commitment. I know you guys at the Dark Cubs have already done quite a bit. Matteo, I see you're still there as well. I know you've been doing a great job up in Mwanza. You're in the schools there, and from the footage that you've sent down, I can see that the guys are really, really organised and really sharp. And I think if anyone has any, Matteo's had a lot of experience coaching groups of kids and guys, girls, and now up in Mwanza coaching in the college up there that he's attending. So absolutely, if anyone needs any advice or on how you get involved and set up things, Matteo's doing it. He's been doing it for a long time, and he's still doing it. So he's someone with a lot of experience to reach out to and to seek advice. And I think that's one of the key things that I think everyone is starting to realize now and get a handle on, is that it's not just the Dark Cubs or the Arusha Duma or the Moshi Bulls or the Doma Dragons. It's everyone together. And the problems that the guys in the Doma face, they might have already been solved by the guys in Dar es Salaam. The problems that the guys in Tanga face, they might have already been solved by the guys in Arusha. So the more that we communicate with each other as a group, the more we realize that we already have the solutions to a lot of our problems. So again, just reach out to the people in the group. If you have questions, reach out to the group. Reach out to your fellow coaches or your fellow You know, if you're the development officer in Dark Cubs, you can reach out to the development officer in Arusha. You can reach out to the union, whatever the issue might be. Again, share the problem. The problem shared is a problem. You know, you're more likely to get a solution with the more minds you have working on the problem. So again, that's that. I'll come back to the funding thing. I guess maybe it might be good to have Paul on the call for this. And Freddie as well. I know Freddie is unavailable this evening, but I know Scorpions Development have been providing funding, and they did for the coaching course over the weekend. So they might be better people placed to speak about this. Obviously, Paul as the treasurer. I know you guys at the Cubs have already reached out to a few places about potential sponsors, and I know that we're looking at setting up a list of potential sponsors that we would like to reach out to over the next few months, both for at club level, union level, and in terms of the league. So, yeah, if anyone has any suggestions or any ideas regarding sponsorship, I think maybe we should discuss this more when we have everyone on the call. But anyone that's not on the call on the YouTube channel, you know, it's not just for the committee to solve, it's for everyone to solve, and no idea is a bad idea. So the more ideas we have, the more possible avenues we have to explore. So I guess the message on that tonight would be to just, any ideas, send them on. We'll compile a list, and when the time comes to start actually approaching companies and potential sponsors, we'll already have contact information and lists of companies that we think would be a suitable match for Tanzanian rugby. Does anyone have anything to add to that?
No, not really, but I think it's clear, and I'm sure adding value to this once we have as many as teams to be involved for maybe like a tournament or league that we could start. It's gonna be easy for sponsors to jump in if it's not only just Dar es Salaam. If we give them like, oh, we have about 5 regions that we can have your brand going around, and you are becoming maybe we can put you on a t-shirts, or maybe we can call the tournaments, let's say CRDB Rugby 7s or Rugby 10s, and you can leverage on those 5 regions. I think they would want that more than just sponsor like just one team. But I'm sure while we are heading that, as you said, people can throw in their ideas, and I could share mine with my experience that I have, and I'm sure we can easily get sponsorship if we involve all teams and not just specific area. Oh, of course, we can have each team to have maybe their own sponsor, and we can have one major sponsor for the tournament or for the league.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, any help is open, or we're open to any help at all in that regard at the moment. And yeah, in terms of sponsoring the league, that's definitely something. You know, this is at the moment we're in the beginning stages of something a lot bigger. So any potential sponsors that come on board with us now will be growing with us, and they'll be making an investment in something that has the potential to grow exponentially. You know, already after the weekend, I've been speaking with, you know, people in Arusha and people in Moshi about getting into some schools. You know, if we can get a what's the word I'm looking for, a consistent schools program going, within a couple of years, you'll have, you know, 20, 40, 60 guys leaving school every year who've played competitive rugby for 2 years. That just feeds into the club level, and potentially even, you know, after a couple of years, you'll need several clubs in each region, and it's only going to grow grow at a rate of knots now. Once we start implementing the skills that we've all learned, and I think any sponsor that comes on board with us now would be a small investment, but would see massive returns over the next couple of years. So again, this is all something that needs to be approached in the right manner, and we really need to start planning for it now. And I guess that's the point that I wanted to get across. But yeah, like you said, Jacob, it's not just for individual clubs; it's for the whole union and the whole league, and that's something really, really that any sponsor will have to take on board. So, guys, does anyone have any other business that you'd like to broach this evening? No, we don't have any other business this evening. Guys, if it's okay with everyone, we can close the meeting now at 20 minutes past 9. Okay. Guys, look, thanks very much for coming on the call this evening. I know there was a bit of a mix-up with the time. Anthony, go ahead.
Just waiting to say good night. Waiting for you to finish up.
Lovely. Thanks very much. Thanks very much for coming on the call. Obviously, a bit of a mix-up with the time. Matteo, thank you very much for coming on. Jacob as well. And guys, again, just keep working towards the goal. And again, we're doing some good things, and it's going in the right direction. So for everyone watching on YouTube, thanks for joining in, and get in contact if you have any ideas, and keep working towards the goal, and we'll get there in the end. Guys, thanks very much. The meeting's adjourned. We'll talk to you all soon.
All right. Bye. Good night.
Bye.